this show that you're doing, I love the idea. So again, you and Randall Park are sitting there and hearing a story for the first time that is a true story. And I love the first story here, especially since it does play into the sports conversation that we do have here every day. So I'll give you the floor. Tell me about Rick Steigerwald and how this plays into your show, your first guest, Ed.
Great. So, yeah, he's completely insane. But I'll start with just a little recap of the premise so people kind of understand what the show is. It's like it's kind of a hybrid reality / scripted show where Randall Park and I sit down with just a real everyday average person who happens to have an incredible, crazy, true story from their lives. We sit down with them. Randall and I have never heard the story before. We have a sort of like a back and forth. Just we interview them and hear the story from them, and then which is incredibly fun and would be a great show on its own. But then we actually go and shoot these big reenactments, kind of like cinematic reenactments of the story, and that gets kind of intercut with the interview for the final product. And it's it's an incredibly funny show, but because the stories are true and because these people are being so vulnerable and sharing these stories with us, it's also very kind of heartwarming and uplifting at times. And, it just celebrates that lost art of laughing at ourselves. Yes. Like people like telling stories that are oftentimes embarrassing or humiliating in some way, but just with a great sense of humor and kind of like humility. So that's what the show is. Our first episode is this guy you mentioned, Rick Steigerwald, and he is like if I met him in a bar somewhere, I'd be like, this guy's a con man. It's like nothing he says is true.
But it's true story. It's a true story.
But it is like it has been completely fact checked. His entire story checks out, and what it is he in the 70s he was a welder in Pittsburgh, Steeltown, USA, and of course just a diehard Steelers fan, as the whole city is. But in the late 70s, I think it was 79, was Terry Bradshaw taking the Steelers to the Super Bowl in Miami, and he and his brothers, who were around 20 something at the time, and just the most raucous, rabble-rousing crew, rent a Winnebago, drive down to Miami for the Super Bowl and sneak in. And that is the least crazy part of the story. That's literally that's where the story begins. And from there, it just goes even more and more bananas, and it's so fun. And he is such an incredible character. Like, he's just he's incredibly charming and hilarious, and you just can't believe he's real and that these stories are real.
Well, I mean, and the best part about it, I don't mean to steal too much thunder, because there's enough thunder to go around from his story. He winds up showering with the team. He winds up not only going to the game, but getting his way into the locker room after the game and stripping down naked and showering with the team. That literally happened. Ed, for real?
Yeah. So spoiler alert. Yeah. He basically is a guy who just will stop at nothing to do whatever's crazier than, like, he'll just take a crazier step every time. So they're sitting in the stands. They get into the game. They're sitting in the stands, and his buddy's like, "Hey, let's try to get the game ball." And he's like, "Okay." Runs down, like, sneaks onto the field, and he's on the field at the end of the game, and of course everyone's rushing the field. He sees the team heading back for the locker room. He's like, "I'll just go in the locker room because I want to hang out with the Steelers." And so he pretends to be a camera assistant or something, makes his way into the locker room.
Oh my God!
And then someone. I mean, I don't want to spoil too much, because yes, but it does wind up with him in the shower. And if you ask him, like, why did you take a shower with the team? It's like, the answer is is as simple as because it's insane.
Yes.
And it was fun.
It sounds like the worst White Shadow episode ever, Ed.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's the best. He's just sort of one of those guys that you want to hang out with and just hear about his life.
And then the reenactment includes Bradshaw. You got Terry.
We
to
got
do this.
Terry. Yeah. So I did a movie with Terry a couple of years ago, and I don't know if you know him at all, but he's
of course.
just the most incredible, wonderful human being.
He is who you think he is. Who you think he is. When you see him, that is him. That is him. Yes.
100%.
Right.
And I called him. I said, "We're doing this thing. This guy actually met you back in '79, and we want to reenact it. Well, do you want to be a part of it?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, of course." So Terry's in it, and Adam Pally, who's a great, just an amazing, hilarious actor. He plays Rick, young Rick, and it's so fun. It's just so fun.
Well, I am mandated, Ed Helms, to follow up and just button it up, I guess, with this question is because, again, the fact that you're a newbie to the story, too, that you're hearing it as well for the first time, along with Randall Park and the show, again, True Story with Ed and Randall on Peacock here with Ed Helms. Did you inform Terry that he showered with a perfect stranger after the Super Bowl? Was he aware of this story himself, Ed? Did you break this news to him?
I guess so. I don't know who was in the actual shower while Rick was, but yeah, basically, we. I mean, he was in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
And,
like, did you know?
I really wanted to. I have to tell you one more amazing detail.
By the way, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if I'm forcing you into spoilers. I know that's not. I want people. Okay, good. All right.
No, I can't help myself. Okay. Like I shouldn't say this stuff, but hopefully, the more crazy stuff I tell you, the more people will want to see it.
Bees to honey. Bees to honey. Yes. Yes.
He at one point, a reporter thinks that Rick is a Steeler and starts to interview him, and he just does the interview.
What?
Does this video exist? Does it?
I don't. I don't know that that's findable.
Okay.
But it is so priceless. But here's what does exist for sure. There were articles in like the Miami Herald or some like local paper about a guy who snuck into the locker room and interacted with everybody before he got kicked out.
Oh my God.
So it's true. Like it's all true.
Wow. True Story with Ed and Randall on Peacock. You got to check it out. And then there's some other great stories of some other regular people. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.